So a little bit late. We are going to call the, whatever this date is. This is the 4th, I guess. The Monday, December 4th, 2023, Westfield, Washington Township Advisory Plan Commission meeting to order. If staff would please confirm the presence, whatever that actually is here, of a quorum tonight.
And let the meeting minutes reflect that there are only 8 currently seated members.
Were you mic'd up, or shall I repeat the fact that we are proceeding with our current body of 8 as the total maximum number of potential Plan Commission members, of which 4 we will confirm are present?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Berkman,
Here.
Mr. Deck, Mr. Horke,
Here?
Mr. Johns.
Here.
Thank you.
Here.
Ms. Kelleher, Mr. Maui, Mr. Schmitz,
Here.
and Ms. Spoljarek.
Here.
We have a quorum.
So we have 4 in-house and we have 1 remote. So we are ready to proceed with tonight's festivities. So there are no changes to our brief agenda. So moving on, we have approval of the minutes of the November 20th, 23 meeting. Is there a motion regarding our previous minutes?
Make a motion to approve, excuse me, the minutes of November 20th, 2023.
Thank you. We have a motion by Dave Schmitz. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Cindy Spoljarek. If staff would please call the roll.
Ms. Berkman,
Yes.
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
and Ms. Spoljarek.
Yes.
I believe that's everyone.
It is. Thank you. Minutes are approved. If staff would please review the rules and procedures for tonight's meeting, which has no public hearings, but just 1 item of business on our consent agenda.
Yes, so please do not disrupt the proceedings in any way. If you need to have a private conversation, then we please ask you to please quietly exit the room. Please silence your devices at this time. If you must answer them, then please quietly exit the room. And then for this evening, we just have 1 item of business. So for items that do not require a public hearing, the department will summarize the petition and highlight any changes or modifications since the item was last before the Plan Commission. The department will also describe what action, if any, is necessary to be taken. The petitioner will be given up to 15 minutes to present any changes. The commission will then act upon this petition. And that concludes our rules of procedures for this evening.
Thank you. We have 1 consent agenda item, a Lions Club edition. It's ready for approval. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve, excuse me, the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do we have a second? We have a motion from Dave Schmitz, seconded by Kristen Berkman. If staff, please call the roll.
Ms. Berkman,
Yes.
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
and Ms. Spoljarek.
Yes.
Thank you. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to our 1 item of business, petition 2310-PUD-09, the Spring Mill Center PUD Amendment 1. Staff can recap, and then the petitioner is welcome to present.
Yes, good evening, members of the commission. For the record, Weston Rogers with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is the Spring Mill Center PUD amendment related to the property located northeast of the intersection at State Road 32 and Spring Mill Road. This PUD amendment proposes to modify the signage standards associated with the property. Procedurally, this item has completed the following timeline. The request was introduced to City Council on September 11th. A neighborhood meeting was held on September 27th. A public hearing was held on October 2nd. And finally, a workshop was held on November 20th. As a brief recap, since the last meeting, the following revisions have been incorporated into the ordinance per the guidance provided at the workshop. So within the ordinance language, the applicability of monument signs A and B has been clarified. In addition, clarification has been provided that monument signs require a basin cap. Also, clarification has been provided to note the overall maximum height and width of signs permitted. And also, in addition, the signage character exhibit was updated to establish a sign area creativity zone or opportunity zone within the monument signs themselves. So at this point, that concludes staff introduction of this item. We'll turn it over to the petitioner to provide a brief overview of the project. As a reminder, this is an item of business, so this is up for a recommendation to City Council. So that is the action item associated with this petition this evening. So both the petitioner and staff are available to answer any questions, should you have any. And that concludes the intro. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brown? Are you mic'd up?
There we go, sorry.
That's better.
Russell Brown, 320 North Meridian Street, Suite 1100, Indianapolis. I'll be very brief. I think staff did a great job of just summarizing. We tried to take the comments that were raised at the workshop meeting. A couple of things that we tried to do is the type A, type B differentiation, laying out that a single user lot is not entitled to multiple multiple identifications on the monument sign. So that would be a type A sign, and then type B signs would be where there are more than one user, and then a user may only utilize one of those monument signs. So they couldn't have multiple uses on a monument sign throughout the district. I think that addressed the intent that we didn't want any question about what was type A and type B. We did provide the maximum height that was just included previously in the exhibit, so we incorporated it into the text, so there was no question about that. And then staff was very helpful on our exhibit modification to try to get rid of some of the concerns that it has to be this size, but instead to utilize creativity or utilize design for the end user that was more applicable to that end user, instead of having the feel that it had to be a block with the white back or anything like that. So we tried to just modify that exhibit to alleviate that concern. With that, we appreciate the feedback through the workshop process. I think it's helpful, and would be happy to answer questions, but otherwise would appreciate your favorable recommendation to the council of the ordinance as presented.
Okay, thank you. Do we have questions or comments for staff or the petitioner from those of us that are present tonight? Left and right shaking heads. Mike Johns, remote, any questions, or are you a left-right shake head too?
I'm a left-right shake head. Looks good to me.
Okay.
I'm 2 for 2. That's 2 times in a row. I will say this has nothing to do with my case. Other than I want to just thank you all. I practice here a decent amount, and I have always been treated with respect, and I appreciate that. And I know that there'll be some changes that happen after the first of the year, and I don't know how many of you will be sitting up there versus out here, but thank you for that. I've been, Councilor Spoljaric, you and I have had a lot of history together, and I always appreciate the fact that you tell me what you see and how it is. So thank you for that. And I don't get a chance to say it in the public record, so I wanted to say it tonight, and I'm not holding anybody else on the agenda up. So I just want to say thank you for that, and I look forward to continuing to work in this community.
You've been coming here for quite a while. I've been sitting up here since 2000, most of the time, on different Monday nights. Seen a lot of different things. So I'm quite happy with the revisions here, as it appears everybody else is. So this is in front of us for a recommendation. Is there somebody who would be interested in making such a recommendation to council?
I will make a motion, unless you want to, Kristen. No. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve, to recommend approving 2310 PUD 09 Spring Mill Center PUD Amendment 1. Forward positive recommendation to the council. I guess I'll say it like that.
Thank you. Okay. We have a motion from Cindy Spolcharik, seconded by Kristen Berkman. If staff would please call the roll.
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Ms. Spolcharik,
Yes.
and Ms. Berkman.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No public hearing items, and there's one continued item, it will be sometime in the spring. Moving us then to reports and comments. Are there any comments from Plan Commission members for each other or staff? If there aren't any, then City Council liaison.
Council did meet November 27th. Kevin updated council about the comp plan update, noting they would be meeting again, or meeting with admin next week, and we'll be bringing on a consultant in the next few weeks for that effort. The 2024 elected official salary ordinance was approved, and that was holding the mayor, council, and clerk treasurer basically at the 2023 levels. There was one small change for council president to 2,500. But everything else stayed the same. We approved an ordinance allowing the clerk treasurer to make the end-of-year fund transfers, as we always do. The 2024 fee schedule was introduced, which doesn't appear to have significant changes from 2023. And let's see, Marlo is going to be meeting with the public safety leadership to discuss a local income tax special distribution, which I had not heard anything about it until she had that to say, so I have no further details on that. Jake reminded the audience of the We Field Champions event, which was last Tuesday evening. That was celebrating the 10 years at Grand Park, and the video that was produced for that. Kind of one of the things that stood out was Troy, he mentioned a meeting that Mayor-elect Willis was hosting for neighbors to gather input on the North Point 2 project, specifically the 10-acre buffer area. He read the invitation letter that was sent to certain residents expressing concern that the letter stated the project was coming back, and he already had the new counselor votes to see it get through. If anyone wants further detail on that, I suggest you listen to the recording to hear Troy's comments on that. And I did attend the meeting, and so did Ginny. Was anyone else from APC there? I didn't see every face in the audience, but it was held here, and I believe a task force is going to be put together at some point to talk about that 10 acres or 30 acres or whatever it happens to be, which would be the buffer yard for the neighbors. So if that project comes back, which it's not currently on the agenda, and but everything we hear is expecting it to be back. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay. I had wanted to be there, but was unable to, and it was not recorded, so people like you are going to have to give the updates. And I did get one from Ginny.
Okay.
So there was no BZA meeting in between our last meeting and now, so no report there, and Plat Committee shockingly hadn't met either. So we are now to Community Development Department. Words of wisdom for us?
Well, yeah, just wanted to kind of end the year on a little bit of exciting news in our department. We're going to be doing a little bit of restructuring next year in the planning side of things. We're going to have a few promotions January 1st, create a couple new positions that were part of the budget and salary ordinance approved for next year. So we will be having really some dedicated folks towards long-range planning. And Caleb Ernest will be the long-range planning manager starting next year. And then kind of parallel to that, we're going to create a current planning manager, which Dane Crabtree will be filling that position, which will be really doing a lot of the stuff that you guys routinely see, the zoning administration side of what we do, right? The zoning petitions and development plan reviews and BZA management and those kinds of things. So he'll continue doing that. we'll be dedicating some staff resources to long-range planning. And also just wanted to announce Weston here will be promoted to a new position we created called, what is it? Senior Associate Planner. We were trying to create a middle position between associate planner and senior planner. It's to create a little bit more of a hierarchy in our department. So Weston will be our first senior associate planner starting January 1st. So we're excited about the new structure. We think it'll give us the ability to focus on some of the long-range planning initiatives that are being coming our way next year. So,
Excellent.
yep, that's it. And I don't know if we will be having a workshop meeting in December. That's still up in the air. There won't be any workshop items per se, but there may be some consent items. So we'll know that in the next week or so, and we'll let you know. But
All right,
There's
that's
probably
where I
a-
was going to go, was
there's
do we
probably a
need to start
50-50.
finding out if we're going to have a quorum for the
Yeah,
18th?
that's probably not a bad idea.
I would be available. You would be available? Either of you available?
I was potentially not going to be
Okay, well,
available, so I don't.
that's your answer, that's fine. Mr.
I
Schmidt?
should be.
Mike, are you, if we have a second one, you would be available?
I
All right.
would be,
Second
yes.
one.
All right, so we have 4 others, or 3 others that hopefully will maybe be at least one of them or 2 of them available to constitute a quorum if we would choose to have a second December meeting. But we'll wait to hear back from you on that, I guess.
We'll know the next week or so if we think there'll be anything ready for consent agenda.
Can't be too much longer than a week because the meeting's in 2 weeks.
That's right.
Didn't we
In the event
delegate?
that we don't meet, happy holidays, and
Thank you.
hope you enjoy the rest of the season with your family. So if we do, then I'll say it again on December 18th.
That's a plan.
Can you kind of update us on, obviously, there's a lot of changes going to happen at the first of the year. As far as our terms go, are we through the first meeting in January, or is this it through December? What is the term?
Yeah, well, let me look, find the official.
The terms are 4 years and until your replacement is seated, but we structured the 2024 calendar to make the first Plan Commission meeting after the first council meeting.
That's right.
So whatever appointments are made at that council meeting then become effective for the first Plan Commission meeting,
Okay, so this could be our last one then, potentially?
if we don't have a second December meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good summary. That's a good summary.
Excuse
Same
excuse me?
with us, too. We don't have.
So, all right. Happens a lot this time of the year. We didn't used to do it that way. We used to have more December and January meetings, but it just always seemed to be frustrating to try to figure out who could submit on time and how would we make it all worth doing. So probably 2 years running now. This is the 3rd time perhaps that we have just kind of shuffled the January schedule, which then works out conveniently to be able to do a clean handoff for whoever it is that's coming in 2024 to do what this body does, as opposed to us, potentially lame ducks doing something in the first meeting but not carrying forward with it. So, all right.
If they're just consent agenda items at the next, second meeting, can we delegate to staff like we did that one time? Or
Is
do
there
we
anything
not
that
want
would be a
to?
potential consent agenda, or is it more just potential workshop things for planning purposes?
We don't, unfortunately, we don't know the status of everybody's project in the department at this point. We couldn't give you names of projects. Like we did last time, we were really specific about,
Right, we knew exactly what we were delegating.
yeah,
All right,
unfortunately.
so if we don't know, we shouldn't delegate. At least I wouldn't be comfortable delegating on something that I don't know what it is. Chances are it's all fine. It's not like I don't trust anybody, but I think we ought to have a responsibility to know what it is that we're telling you guys to do for us. So we'll do what we can for the 18th, or maybe we have to adjust a meeting date if we know far enough ahead that we can post it properly. We may have to do that. So we'll have options. So.
Yeah, and there's a chance that there may not be anything ready to I just know that there's a couple of development plans that have been through TAC and are going through revisions. So it really is dependent upon the applicant to get submitted plans back to us, and that can happen at any time. There's no deadline per se. So as soon as they submit
Just don't
them, we'll
follow up
review
with them. Yeah, just kind of let them miss the deadline. Shh, I didn't say that. Shut off.
We'll know in a week, for sure.
Okay. We're at the point of looking for a motion to adjourn then. Do we have such a motion?
So moved.
I have that motion from Dave Schmitz, and do we have a second? Have a second from Kristen Berkman. Staff, please call the roll.
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Ms. Boljert,
Yes.
Ms. Berkman.
Yes.
and
Good,
that is
thank
everyone.
you. Meeting is adjourned at 7:32.